Joining me here in studio, which is such a pleasure, is Vonny Sweetland, Conservative organizer and commentator. Again, Vonny, thanks so much for coming in today. Before commercial break, we were discussing some of the factions, if you will, within any major political party, but especially the Conservative Party. So let's talk about that a little bit more detailed now. Sure. You say there's fiscal conservatives, social conservatives, and I know I'm a conservative myself. And then I guess, I don't know, I figure myself an all-encompassing conservative, but I don't know if there's such thing yet. What is happening right now with Erin O'Toole? We've seen headlines that, there's some group starting a petition or there's some national councillor doing something. So what's happened in those days just after the election of 2021?
Well, unfortunately, we have seen some unrest within the party. Again, not all across the party, but within certain factions. We did have a national council member who launched a petition who wanted a leadership review sooner than 2023. That has obviously caused some dismay amongst party members.
And what's a leadership review for our voters, or for our viewers, rather?
A leadership review is essentially an opportunity to litigate the leader, in this case, Erin O'Toole's performance during the election. The Constitution does provide for that to happen in 2023. Some folks are saying, look, we don't want to wait until 2023. We want to have it now.
Because it's a minority government, right? Trudeau won a minority government again. So at any point, technically, yes, the election could happen. Now, do we foresee it happening in the next calendar year? Probably not, but perhaps in 2 years. So I can understand how the membership might say, okay, well, do we have the right leader going to lead us into the next election?
For sure. I'll just say this. On every single great sports team, we know that after a loss, especially a very passionate loss where, emotions are flying, teams will then say, look, we've got to start looking internally and we've got to look at all of our team players and ask, could the goalie have done a better job? Could our forward have scored more goals? That is natural, but the most successful teams know that the way to be successful is to work together and unify, not to start pointing the finger. So my perspective is, whether you were pleased with the outcome or not, right now is a time to keep the target, if you will, on your political opponents and not turning it inside.
Okay, but
it's a recipe for disaster.
And I still want to focus on the federal, but I was a candidate when there was a sudden leadership, snap leadership in Ontario. And the Conservatives won in Ontario with mere weeks to go before the election, even with changing the focus for several months and electing a new leader. So it can be done. It doesn't necessarily mean, if we've seen it in our past history, it doesn't necessarily mean that the target would be shifted, but is the right leader going to lead us in? And it's a very good question. And ultimately, it is the membership who decides who the leader is.
Correct.
So if the membership is putting forward, okay, well, we'll talk about what this national councillor did. So he said, and which is strange because it's an executive party member, they kind of govern the party. So he inserted himself and said, okay, we want a leadership review.
Yes. He said we want an early leadership review. He launched a petition, garnered some support from folks within the party, or at least was trying to, and it caused a stir, naturally.
And then I think he got turfed or put on leave temporarily or something.
Put on leave, and frankly, I do believe that was the right move. The only reason I support it is because, again, I firmly believe that this is a time for us to continue applying pressure to Liberals and to other parties, not to, again, focus the target internally. I understand when people say, look, I was displeased. I don't think my voice was reflected properly. No problem. Constitution says that you will have your day in court, if you will, in 2023.
Okay, so this first attempt, if you will, because I'm going to assume people are working in concert here, but this first attempt failed, and now there has been a new petition launched, but by a Conservative senator, or shall I say a former Conservative senator. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so Senator Batters, she also put forward a petition very similar to what the National Council member had put forward. And we've seen a recent termination, which has been all over the media in the last, I'd say, week.
Well, she's still a senator. She just, I guess, was removed from the Conservative caucus.
Exactly.
Conservative senators who are appointed as Conservatives kind of sit together, if you will.
Yes.
And now she's kind of an independent.
As an independent, if you will.
Right. And so was that right? Was that just? I mean, she's a party member herself. What was the reasoning behind why she should be turfed?
I think much in the same of what we were just talking about. You have people who are sitting back watching all of this unfold and saying, look, I hear you. I understand that you want to be heard. I understand that you want to share your displeasure with the leader's performance, with the election strategy. But I think what we've got to focus on is the fact that the Constitution provides a time for that to happen in 2023. So if you
Because that's the next convention.
It's the next convention.
Why, yeah.
So if you're going to move outside of that and you're going to work in silos and you're going to be doing these other maneuvers that frankly harm the party, you're going to have other people from other factions who are going to be upset by that.